Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back for another Optc video, and in today's video, it's that time of the month again, and treasure map is finally here, I guess. So in today's video, we are hopping in to my teams against treasure map versus Garp, and giving you guys a little bit of a breakdown on each stage and what characters I'll be bringing to take this particular treasure map down. But before we hop in, let's have a look and see what the character does. So I gotta say, I really like this artwork for Garp. I think it's really cool, and obviously it's built around the Christmas theme, so the meat is just a very nice touch. He does have fear resistant, that's kind of cool. 5 turns of fear. He has pinch healing and int damage, which doesn't really matter too much. His captain ability is a free spirit and fighter booster by 3.5 and a 1.2 times HP. He allows crews to obtain recovery stops with perfect taps. That's actually pretty nice. So not a bad captain ability for a free-to-play unit. I'd highly recommend farming these treasure map units. For free-to-play players, they're great, and for non-free-to-play players, they're going to see play, especially in like the next treasure map. And they are pretty niche. Most of them haven't been as good as what they once were, but they are still free-to-play characters, and they sort of sit on that sort of Sugo tier, I guess. But nevertheless, pretty good captain ability. The fact he boosts free spirit's pretty nice. He's a free spirit and fighter himself. His support is just stats, which sucks. And let's see what his special does. He makes crew psi recovery slots have matching slot effects for 1 turn, and changes slots to psi and recovery. That's kind of cool. So basically a full board orbs as long as you don't have block orbs. And if your captain is fighter slash a striker shooter, so the base classes, boost crew's attack by 1.75 for 2 turns. I wish that was 3, but I mean, we'll take it. If captain is free spirit driven cerebral powerhouse, he reduces the crew's special charge by 2 turns. Okay, so very similar to Cracker and Law. If you have both those classes, you will get both the effects. So an attack booster and a cooldown remover. Pretty nice. He's going to increase base stats and reduce special reverse, which is very good. Plus, he has fear. Not a bad character, to be honest. I can definitely see him getting play, very similar to like Nami and Sanji. So definitely farm him up. There's not a lot of good Garps in the game as well. There are a couple, but like any Garp is always nice to have, as there's not too much competition out there. So let's have a look. Unfortunately, I have had a look at this boosted list. We do have Ace, Sabo, and Luffy as the 3 boosters. I did not do any summons, so these characters will not feature, but I do have the rest of them. So we have Shiri and Vivi Rebecca as a 1.5. Then we've got Kazuna Hawkins, the new Pirate Rumble Bardo, Arena Franosuke, the 2 new Bachi Neptune and Leo. Then we have the 2 free-to-play units being Kobe and Hina, so hopefully farm them up. We have the Kazuna units that are Law, Sachi, Penguin, and Beppo, and Zoro. So if you did summon on the limited rare group banner, you can have access to them. The Pirate Rumble Soba Mask is boosted as well as the new Garp and the previous treasure map that was Kid. So hopefully farm Kid up. He's really good for one of the stages. Plus, Garp is actually going to be pretty handy, as there is a little sort of cheeky thing that I am using Garp for himself. The rest of the boost is 1.2. It sucks that I don't know why BlackBeard's not a 1.35. Kaido Big Mom, I can kind of guess. Like, I can kind of accept that, I guess. But we do have a Kainu. There's a bunch of 1.2 boosters here, basically. I'm not going to name them all, but the 1.2 times booster is actually pretty good. Like, it's not the greatest booster list in the world, I won't lie, but it's pretty nice that there are this many 1.2 times boosters to help you guys build some teams. So, let's have a look at the teams that I have put together for you guys. So, let's hop to the treasure map crew. And let's start with the first fight. So, the first fight is against Browbeard. Now, stereotypically, this first fight is the easiest of the fights. So normally, the way I like to do it now is just to rely on sort of speed. So I like using Enel for the first fight, as he can get through it quite quickly. Unfortunately, there is no goddamn look. Oh, hang on, we do have hunger tablets. Cool. Okay, hunger tablets are a thing. I was actually pretty upset with this treasure map, but now that I've seen that, like, that's kind of cool. Kind of cool that we can actually get hunger tablets. I'm all about that. I need hunger tablets. So the recommended characters are the free-to-play Luffy and the free-to-play Frankie. On stage 5, he gives himself 3 turns of defense up times 100. So as long as you remove that, you're basically good to go. And that's why this Frankie is recommended. The Luffy's a great leader if you are looking for a free-to-play team. But as mentioned, I do like to sort of just run Enel, as he can just blow through the earlier stages. He does a bunch of damage, as stereotypically these bosses don't have a lot of HP. Next, we've got Frankie. He's here to remove the defense up, which is great. You could probably use like Rare Recruit King. That's another option, is for a chain locker. I actually might do that. That's going to give me more damage output on the final stage. I don't think I'm using Queen for any other stage, so we'll use Queen here. Why not? The next character we have is Sakazuki and Fujitora. Their special can basically just blow away enemies. Otherwise, does like a whole bunch of HP cut. Otherwise, he would just insta-kill. The idea that I'm going for here is just to use like Enel special on the final stage. Sorry, Big Mom special for the HP card, Enel, and then these guys to just blow the stage away. We have Zoro here for an orb buff, we have a chain lock with Queen, and then we have an attack boost with Big Mom. So that should work fairly fine. I don't see us having too many issues taking the stage down. But if you do want to get more points, you can run Big Mom as captain. I just wanted to put her somewhere. I was not using her on any other team, so I wanted to use her somewhere. But you could use the free-to-play Luffy as a captain, run a full side team as Browbeard isn't in character. So that's the first team against Browbeard. The next fight is actually against Rayleigh. Now, Rayleigh does, I imagine, turns into an int unit, or he might turn into a dex unit. I don't really know, to be honest. I haven't looked up, like, any videos or, like, actual, like, breakdown on what these characters do. I've just gone off the quest info. So, the recommended characters I have here are Hawkins, Neptune, and Arena Frankie. So, on stage 5, we get unfavorable slots. He does 5 turns of threshold, and there's a delay immunity, which is a little bit frustrating. It's like, delay just doesn't exist anymore when it comes to these types of fights. So I'm actually using the Kazuna Hawkins as my captain. He can remove threshold by 5 turns, which is great. His captain ability is also 3.5 to cerebrals and strikers, which is quite nice. Also making sly slots matching. We have the free-to-play Kobe and Hina on this team. Kobe's going to be our attack booster, and Hina's going to be our orb booster, which is pretty nice. Then we've got this Sabo here, because our captain's cerebral, we can get a conditional boost as we can actually set the defense low, which is really, really nice. And then I've just got Kid here to help us blow away stage, whoop, I thought I had my phone on Do Not Disturb, apologies. We're just going to use Kid here to blow away stage 3 and stage 4, as that's when there usually is the most mob enemies. Kid can give us cooldowns as well, which is pretty nice, just to make the run a little bit quicker. So that's the team that I will be coming up against with Rayleigh. I am using the Zunisha ship, mainly because it's mainly cerebral based, but I don't imagine this team will have too many issues. We don't really have much color affinity besides Hawkins, so we don't really have a color affinity booster on this team, but it depends on what happens. If Rayleigh turns into a dex unit on the final stage, I may have to sort of look at bringing some strength units to do a bit more damage. Excuse me. So on to the next fight now, we come up against Sengoku. So Sengoku is a dex unit. He is going to, on the final stage, change all slots to bomb orbs, give us 5 turns of despair, 5 turns of bind for our middle row, and bottom row gets 5 turns of paralysis. Again, he's immune to delay, and the character that is recommended is the previous treasure map Kid. Now, the thing with Kid is if you have bind, he will give an attack boost. If you have despair, he's an orb boost, and if you have paralysis, he's color affinity. Because we get all 3 of these, we can actually get all 3 of the buffs, and because we get a full board of bomb orbs, it actually turns them into matching slots. So, as long as you put Kid on a team anywhere, depending on who your leader is, Kid basically just beats this stage for you. No issues whatsoever. So I'm actually using Kaido as my captain here. Because there's no, like poison immunity, I'm actually using Caesar as a support for more damage. Not essential, just may as well, right? We've got Zoro here to help us blow through stage 3 and 4, basically just utilizing his special to just kill mob enemies. We've got Chopper here. Chopper's going to remove the bind, the despair, and the paralysis. You only need 2 turns of despair and bind, but you do need the 5 turns of paralysis. So Chopper's is basically just going to remove all of that for us, which is really, really nice. And then finally, we've just got Leo here. Leo is literally just here because he's a 1.35 times booster. He doesn't really provide anything else for the team, but at the end of the day, he's here, I guess. So I don't see this team having too many issues. We will be running double Kaido with this team. If we can, we'll proc the versatility too. So like this team should have plenty of damage. Plus we have 4 strength units, so we should be doing a lot with color affinity. On to the next team now. We come up against WhiteBeard. So with WhiteBeard, his recommended characters are BlackBeard, the free-to-play Kobe, and the Pirate Rumble Bato. So on this particular fight, we get block orbs on the final stage. He has a 2-shot strength orb barrier, and he reduces damage taken by 50% for 10 turns. So this is why BlackBeard is just so good for this fight. And with this particular team, I'll actually be trying to run like a Kaido friend captain, just so I can just blitz through the earlier stages, no issues whatsoever. So BlackBeard's our captain. His special is a HP cut. He changes block orbs too, which is great. So as long as you're bringing a BlackBeard as a captain, you're basically fine for this entire fight. As his captain ability, as long as you have a fighter / a striker or shooter, will go through defensive effects like Rainbow Shield and barriers, so you don't have to worry about that on the final stage. BlackBeard's also got type advantage too, which is really, really nice. Next, we've got the Pirate Rumble Bato. He's just here because he's a striker. Like, if I'm running double BlackBeard, I'm going to need a striker somewhere. So I decided to put him on the team, and as well, he's going to be our chain locker, I think. I haven't leveled this guy up. Does he have double special activation? Because he gives damage reduction and then he gives a chain lock. I have to look into that, but he's just basically here because he's a 1.35 times boost. He's got color affinity, and he's a striker too, so I had to find a spot for him somewhere. Next, we've got the Kazuna Zoro. You can replace this Kazuna Zoro with basically any orb booster. I've just got him on here because he's a 1.35 times boost. He's also got color affinity. He's our orb booster for slashes and powerhouse units. So he works really, really well. But if you don't have him, you could easily just put on like another orb boosting character. I think someone like Kamazo will work really, really well. Yeah, Kamazo here. Kamazo is an orb booster as well. He won't get the buff from Kaido though. That's why I'm using Zoro. But nevertheless, you can still get a 2.25 times orb boost with this guy here. So if you need to, replace him with Kamazo. Next, we've got Sabo. So Sabo on this particular team, he's a shooter, which can help out as shooters. You struggle to find good shooters for BlackBeard teams, but he's a color affinity booster for side dex and strength. So being majority dex, all our powerhouse units are, or strikers. He's actually going to be our color affinity booster. He can make orbs matching, but that doesn't matter. We just basically got him for color affinity. And then finally, we've got a Kainu. Now, if you don't have a Kainu, you can easily put like Kobe on the team, as Kobe is a fighter. But with the Kainu, he's a fighter and a shooter, which is great. And he sets the defense to 0, gives a conditional boost, and gives us an attack boost. Now, I don't think that... Yeah, he's only immune to delay, so you can actually get that conditional buff off, which is really, really nice. So it's just going to provide us a butt ton of extra damage. And with that, we've basically got, what, a chain lock, color affinity. Sorry, Bardo has double special. We've got a chain locker, an attack booster, orb booster, defense conditional, and... color affinity. This team's not going to have any issues, and with the Kaido friend captain, we can just blitz through the earlier stages, no issues whatsoever. On to the final fight now, we come up against Garp. Now, Garp is a Psy unit. Obviously, the recommended characters are the 3 new treasure map boosters and Shirashiri. With this fight, you kind of want to bring a friend Shirashiri out, but from what I can see, it's going to make life a lot easier for you. So he's going to change all slots into empty slots, does 5 turns of despair, and does 5 turns of 5,000 burn damage. So obviously, having a Shirashiri captain is going to help out significantly with this, as you can basically remove the despair and the burn with one Shirashiri special. On stage 5, we come up against Garp, and he does a full board of block orbs, 3 turns of attack down, removes sound effects, and gives a tap timing barrier for 1 turn for good hits. So you got to hit 2 goods before you can break the barrier, and then you can do a bunch of damage. So bringing like a chain locker is going to help you with a lot of damage output. Or if you can remove that barrier somehow, that'll also help you guys out. So with my team, I have sort of just basically built it around Vivi Rebecca. Vivi Rebecca is just a much better captain, in my opinion. I might have to bring a friend Shirashiri if I need to, but I just don't really see there being too many issues with double Vivi Rebecca. So they're going to be our attack booster, our orb booster for the 2 turns. They remove blind and special blind, but we don't really care about that. On the, the first stage, when we get the despair... I am looking at removing the despair with Shirashiri over here. Sorry, my Shirashiri is going to be able to remove the despair and the burn for us. Unfortunately, I'm still going to have the remove sound effects. So this is where like bringing a friend Shirashiri actually helps out quite a lot. But you can actually use this Arena Frankie. He can remove despair as well, but he also removes attack down. So the reason I've actually got him on this team is he's actually going to remove the attack down that gets inflicted on the last stage. He's going to remove all our positive effects, but that's not an issue moving into the final stage. So we can remove the attack down with him, but we are still stuck with block orbs and remove sound effects. So with Beppo, Penguin, and Sachi, we can actually change all the block orbs into quick, which will be matching with Vivi and Rebecca. And that way we can just easily get around that. The final unit on the team is Neptune. Neptune's just here basically as a color affinity booster. There's no other reason why he's here. But looking at this, we don't need... Oh, sorry. Garp, it turns into a strength unit. So, the color affinity helps out quite a lot. I was thinking, like, why would Garp be a Psy unit? Yeah, so he's a strength unit. So we have a lot of color affinity on this particular team. Unfortunately, we're not going to get the conditional for Frankie, unless we do have to take 2 turns on this particular stage. But other than that, I don't really see too many issues here. Like I said, if we need to, we'll bring a friend Shirashiri. That shouldn't be an issue. But this team should do quite well. And this is where I'm basically looking at getting all of my points. And just blitzing through the original, like the first mini-bosses to get to this particular stage against Garp. Throughout the run, though, there is an intrusion. So in the intrusion, we actually come up against BlackBeard. So BlackBeard is a dex unit by the look of it. I think he changes to a quick unit. So this is where utilizing strikers and cerebrals is going to be great because they get 10 turns of special charge. On battle 2, So stage 2, we get full border unfavorable orbs, we get crewmate bind, and we set they set the chain multiplier to 1.1. So this is obviously why bringing a friend Vivi Rebecca is going to be very handy, as they can remove the bind and give us a full border orbs. And then on the final stage, we get 5 turns of special bind on our captains, 3 turns of resilience, and then there is delay immunity. So that resilience is actually going to be pretty tricky to get around. But if you bring a friend Vivi Rebecca, you can easily get rid of stage 2, and then obviously stage 3 is designed to remove the special bind. So with my particular team here, I am utilizing double Vivi Rebecca, so that should work fairly fine. Their switch ability removes special bind, their special removes special binds, special removes binds, their attack booster or booster. They should work very, very well for this particular fight. Next, we've got Shirashari on the scene. They're just here because they're a point booster, to be honest, like a very high point booster, 1.5. Then we've got Leo here, again, 1.35 times booster, but he also removes chain lock. So I'm actually going to use his special on stage 2 to remove the chain lock. And then I've also got Neptune on this team for a color affinity booster, as Neptune does Cerebral and Fish Spirit characters color affinity by 1.75. If you don't have him, you can just literally replace him with another color affinity booster or another high point booster. That should work absolutely fine. And then finally, we have to get around the resilience. So the way I'm doing it is I've actually got the Dreadnought Saber. Dreadnought Saber does damage at the end of turn, so that will actually get around the resilience. But what you can do is you can actually utilize the Garp that comes out with this particular treasure map. Now, I don't know how effective that's going to be because we only get Cerebral Strikers and Cerebrals and Strikers cooldowns by 10 turns. So I don't know how fast his special is going to be ready by. But we can actually use the Tessero support, the Tsuru support to actually get a HP cut, which can then get through the resilience, which is really, really nice. Now, if you don't have that support of Tsuru, what you can actually do is you can bring the kid that we had on one of our previous teams. This kid right here. So kid does end of turn damage. You can use his special on this turn, and then that way you can just kill. What's his name? BlackBeard. Plus, kid has color affinity. He's a striker, so he gets boosted as well. So if I'm struggling, I will be doing something like that. But for the meantime, in the early stages, I'm actually just going to utilize the Dreadnought Saber. And then that way I can just fill the team out with just a bunch of high point boosters. And I really don't have to worry about don't have to worry about it too much. But I think I'll just put Kobe here for now. But other than that, just getting around that resilience is going to be a little bit tricky. But if you don't have the Dreadnought Saber, you can easily just pick it up from the Rayleigh's Bazaar, or you can just use Colosseum Kid as well. That should work fine. The only issue that I sort of see is this particular team against Garp. I will have to do a little bit of testing to see if I need to bring a friend Shirashari. Otherwise, I can easily just flick it around like that. A Shirashari is just going to help out taking down this particular fight so easy. But there you guys go. They're my treasure map teams. Like I said, I won't be going that hard on treasure map. I haven't summoned for the treasure map boosters. With the Korean merger, I think it's going to be a little bit fiddly after the whole Pirate Rumble incident and all that sort of stuff. So I think I'm just going to sit back and watch this treasure map. But I will be streaming on Monday as usual. Monday at 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So if you guys are around, pop in for the stream. We can have a chat, build some teams, and see how these teams are performing. But I will, as always, put up a playthrough video for you guys too. So that way you can just get a better idea of how these teams operate and see them in action. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure to go down there and belt that like button for me. And if you're new to my channel, hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, guys, I thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one. Lights!